So I want to give you some tips on how to lead a small group. Now, first of all, recruitment is huge. We have a small group kickoff. We call it Rally Day, and it's when all the small group leaders display their group and talk about, they meet people and everybody kind of goes and browses those groups. Let me just give you a little tip. Rally Day will not build your group, okay? I've done this for a long time, and experience shows that we've had groups where one group we had 19 people signed up and 3 people showed up. And probably that's because on Rally Day they thought, I need to pick a group, and they picked one, but there was no basis of relationship to draw those folks into the group. So you're going to be the key to your group growing. So it's best to start with people who are already in your sphere of influence, like coworkers, friends, neighbors. Get those people engaged in your group. Hey, you say, well, Pastor, is this for people that are outside the church? Oh yeah, absolutely. We really want everybody, but we really want those people that aren't a part of this congregation yet. They're more than welcome to be a part of our small groups. In fact, I know churches, they have greater attendance in their small groups than their Sunday morning because they've been doing small groups so long, and there's so many people that come from outside their church to their small groups. There's actually more people there than come on Sunday morning. That'd be a great thing. I'd love to see that happen. So start with people that you know. Find people around you who are new to the church. If I was a small group leader, I'd be at the new member stuff that's going on. I'd be hanging around the hospitality room, hint, hint, while growth track's going on, saying, hey, I'm so-and-so, I'm leading this group. I would just be connecting with people, especially new people in the church, so they would want to be a part of what's going on. New believers, anybody that's shown an interest in getting involved. And then look for people that you think you can help with their potential. This is really cool. If there's somebody you see that you think they could really potentially be interested in what you're doing, or you could help grow them as a person, man, get those people engaged. That is an awesome thing. And if it's an art group and you see people that are artistic and you think, I could help that person develop, reach out to them. If it's somebody that is looking to get more fit and you see potential there for them to really be a fitness person, reach out to them. Whatever it is, if they need to grow spiritually, you want to get them in a Bible study, look for people that can do that potential. And then here's the last and probably most important. Pray for God to send the people to you that He wants to be in your group. So if you're thinking about it and praying about it, it can happen. Now, we encourage the groups not to meet at the church. We do have some that do, and that's not a problem. We will try to accommodate you, but really we want this, it's more of a relaxed and relational dynamic, and sometimes when people get to the building, they kind of shut down because it's like churchy. And when you're in another environment, it could be a library, conference room, recreation center, subdivision clubhouse, outdoors in a park, go to a restaurant, go to a coffee shop, find a place like that where you can meet, or some place that's connected to your ministry. So that's important as well. Now, here's some things you want to do in your group. Number one, you want a fellowship. You want people to connect, okay? So you need a time where everything's not just about what you're doing, but it's a time when people can, hey, what's going on? How's it going? You're connecting. Then you want topic or activity. So whatever you're doing, obviously you want that to be a part of it. But there needs to be a spiritual component. Now that doesn't have to be a sermon. It can be a prayer, so you just open with prayer. It could be a worship time where you have everybody engaged in worship. It could be teaching, where you're doing, some groups are based around teaching, or you can have a time of sharing just a component of what your ministry is, or a testimony. Any of those 4 is a spiritual component, but you need to have at least one of those 4 in your small group. And then ministry, that's your focus. That's the 4th thing. That's what you're wanting to do is who can I really speak into their life at this meeting or somehow impact them. Here's things you want to avoid in a small group. No business. We don't do business in small groups. So you don't form a small group to grow a business or to discuss a business, transact business. None of that can happen in small groups. Secondly, we don't take offerings in small groups. There you get into an integrity issue of leaders or other people handling the finances of the church. We have safety guidelines for how the finances are handled in our congregation, and that's with 2 people looking over those, elders who are not related, etc. All that's in place. You don't have that in a small group. So we encourage you not to take offerings. Unapproved speakers or material. If you're going to teach a certain subject from somebody outside the church, then I need to approve that. If you're going to have somebody come and speak to your group, I need to approve that, or one of our staff needs to approve that. And then controversial topics. Try to stay positive. Stay away from things that, are just going to blow the group up or take you down a path that's not where you want to go. You got to stay focused. So here's how you prepare for a small group meeting, okay? First of all, invite people to your group, obviously. Then email or call the day before the group meets. That's really important. People will say, I'm going to come, and then they don't make the plan until you call them or email them, trust me. And so do that. Then create name tags for everybody that you've called. It's just easier. I don't know how you are about remembering people's names, but people get a little shut down because they think, I think I know that person's name, but I don't want to say it wrong. And so we come up with all these handles like, hey bud, hey sis, hey what's happening dude? And so it's just easier, and people feel more accepted, more affirmed when you use their name. And so use name tags for that. Have food and snacks available. Hey, this is kind of the rule around Cedar Lake. If we can eat something, we do. If there's an opportunity to have food, do it. A 300-pound man can hide behind a coffee cup. I promise you. You put food in people's hands, it automatically relaxes them. And then create an inviting environment. You don't want the environment to be real stale. Create an inviting environment. Then, what are the group dynamics? Give time for discussion. This is a general rule of thumb. It's not necessary for every group, but about 70% of the time should be the group having a discussion. If it's really a teaching group, everybody that's there wants to be taught, then there may be more teaching than that. But the idea here is, again, we want this relational dynamic. And so, you need to break it up with, even if you're teaching, break it up with some discussion and where everybody's engaged in what's going on. That's the most life-giving type of dynamic. Keep the discussion positive. You want to carefully lead the conversation back to the topic when tangents occur. You just say things like, hey, let's get back on our topic here, or getting back to point number 3 or whatever, so you just direct it back that way. Steer the discussion to a direction where everyone can participate. If it gets off where there's just 2 people talking, try to gear the discussion, stop and say, hey, Janet, what do you think of that? Or somebody that's not engaged, engage them in the conversation, and try not to use things and phrases that everybody can't grasp. Try to keep it where everybody can relate. Be prepared to change the direction of the meeting if you need to. And if things get heated, you may just say, hey, we need to take a 5-minute break, everybody. Let's get some water, relax or whatever. We're going to come back and discuss this. So be prepared for something like that should you have an over-talker or things get kind of stale. And then men should minister to men and women to women, and couples can minister to a single. I think that's important when you're getting into personal relationship and relationships start getting deeper, especially in relating to personal issues. We don't need men ministering to women or women ministering to men. We need men with men, women with women, and then couples together ministering to a single person. That's an important part of our group dynamics. And then let's talk about the unseen element, and that is the environment. Jesus said, where 2 or 3 come together in my name, I'm there also in the midst of them. So you want a positive environment and one that's full of faith and hope, okay, and love that inspires people to grow and facilitates healthy relationships and allows the Holy Spirit to work. And so you're the one, your role is to set the tone and the culture of that group. You're the leader, so you can't just sit back and let someone else that may have a stronger personality set the tone of your group. You set the tone, and a lot of it's by the way you respond to people. Hey, a big deal here is smile, okay? Because when you smile, it helps set the tone. So we want to encourage you to do that. Smile for people, smile at people, create this atmosphere, and cultivate a life-giving atmosphere which has to do with encouragement. If you can encourage 2 or 3 people right at the beginning of your meeting, it's going to set a great tone because it's a positive idea. It's a positive concept that, hey, we're here to encourage one another, speak life into somebody's life, and that can be really cool and really positive, okay? And then we're coming toward the close of this, and let's talk for a minute about childcare. Groups are not required to have childcare. You may have the type of group that you really need it. If you're doing a marriage or parenting small group, you're going to need to provide childcare. And so we have some guidelines for that. If you're going to do that, every person who's going to take care of or minister to those children, if they are an adult, 18 or over, they must have a background check through our offices. So you have to send them to us if they have not had a background check. We do have availability, people who have had background checks, but make sure that they do. If they're a minor, if they're under 18 and the group just wants to pitch in and everybody pay a little bit for them to take care and watch the children, and that could really, if it's a minor, it just needs to be a few children. You don't need to put a minor in a position of having a lot of kids to have to oversee. But if you have that type of situation, you can contact us. We can give you some ideas about who is qualified for that, and we can help you with that. But a lot of times you just have to be creative with child care. Hey, we're going to set aside a room of the house where we're going to do child care, and we do have a limited number of options where we could do child care, actually have it function here at the church, but that's very limited. But if you contact us and let us know, then there's a possibility that that could take place. We just want to make sure that we are approving everyone that is going to be doing the child care for your group.